Welcome to Truth by Billie Beene. Today's date, June 30, 2025, time in Texas, about 2 p.m. A flash update that will cover what's happening with the tropics and the U.S., Florida to Texas, and President Trump and Alligator, Alcatraz, the Idaho shooter, and Fatwa. Some of my sources are God in the Bible, Patriot, Subscriber, BREITBART, Real Raw News, Daily Excellence with Mike from Around the World, National Hurricane Center, Into Thin Air Plus. So let's get started. Oh, and I have a subscribe button in the lower right corner of my screen. Thanks for like, subscribe, and share. And for hitting the like button, that helps my channel to grow. So I have this from a Facebook friend. The reason the Dems are set against deporting the illegals, they need the illegals with their driver's license and fake voting applications to vote for Dems in the primarily Dem states of California, New York, Illinois, New Jersey. If all the illegals are deported, and we're believing 20 to 30 million are inside the U.S., then the Dems would lose congressional seats and electoral votes. It's all about the Dems. And we know the Dems eat their own. We saw the recent assassination of I believe that was in Milwaukee, of the state's House of Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband shot dead. And then a state senator, John Hoffman, and his wife seriously wounded. The Dems eat their own. And that's because these two lawmakers had recently voted against the platform the Dems are taking, which means free medical, housing, welfare, everything free for the illegals. And the American people are rising up and saying no more. That's part of the reason that we see this commie Muslim Dem running for mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani, against the incumbent mayor, Eric Adams, who had been a Dem, but he rose up very heroically, I thought, about a year and a half ago, to say that New York City could not afford the cost of the illegals. That didn't agree with the Dem platform, so boom, they tried to eat Eric Adams by ginning up fake legal charges against him. President Trump had Pam Bondi, the federal AG, get those charges dropped. Now, Eric Adams is running as an independent for mayor in New York City, but pundits are putting forth, they believe the Dem political party is corrupt enough in New York City to control the voting and to put in the commie Muslim. So that's coming. And if he's elected, it's predicted a mass exodus from New York City of American citizens, Jews, the New York Police Department, businesses, and so on. The Dems eat their own. And we have this from the National Hurricane Center. Okay. So we do have, now Barry was the second tropical storm that's no longer on the National Hurricane Center's page. It's gone into Mexico and is beginning to dissipate. We do have this area right here over Florida. And Into Thin Air puts forth that he believes some models show it developing. If it develops into a tropical storm, I believe the next name is Chantel. and that it would affect Florida all the way to Texas. Now, the National Hurricane Center continues to give it the same rating they did yesterday. 0% of development in 48 hours, 20% in 7 days. But we're seeing, I guess, Into Thin Air had access to an independent model and is predicting that within about 1 week it's going to kick up. It could be a tropical storm or even a hurricane. Now, he's putting forth that he's also seeing some origin point in the Gulf of America, putting out right now all kinds of electromagnetic pulses. We know that's a weather warfare technique. So that's going on. And now we have this. Oh yeah, in space news, we could have a small CME affect Earth July 1 and produce a small G1 or G2 electromagnetic storm. Also from Facebook, RFK Jr. Maha, make America healthy again. We have many large companies coming out now saying they're going to be dropping artificial dyes in their food, which will take them up to about 2 years. Now, in the manufacturing process, I mean, you have your set machines and recipes, you have your stock feed, and you have all that paid for and positioned. So 2 years is about right, based on my knowledge of manufacturing. But the some of the major manufacturers includes Smuckers, Nestle's, Kraft. No more artificial, unhealthy colors in our food. And we have this from Mike from Around the World recently had a show on daily excellence, talking about earth changes. Yes, we are experiencing, and we do anticipate experiencing, weather changes upon Earth on a global basis. And he says we will also see different stars in the sky. I agree with that, and I also had received that information from God about 1.5 to 2 years ago. Yeah, Earth changes. Because we know we have something coming into our solar system. Some people call it Planet X, Nibiru, and so on. Binary sun. It's affecting our solar system, the sun, and the earth. So that's going on. And we have this. We have, yes, that the Ayatollah Khamenei in Iran issued a global fatwa. And you say, what is a fatwa? F-A-T-W-A. This comes out of the Islamic religion, dates back to Prophet Muhammad, the Quran, their book. Like for Christians, we would have the Bible. And it's a legal judgment. Now, so Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran issued a global fatwa, a directive, a judgment to all Muslims to engage in assassinations of President Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, my research on this and how various Islamic groups respond to fatwas, and we know there's two main groups of Islamic believers, the Sunni and the Shia, and then different divisions in that. We can relate to that as Christians, Catholic, Protestant, and different divisions in the Christian and Catholic, Protestant and Catholic groups. It's the same in the Islamic religion. And what I got from my research was, even though it's a global fatwa from the Ayatollah Khamenei, it would only most likely be responded to by his followers. So that's going on. But what we're seeing now, we saw over the weekend a very tragic event in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. We had a shooter who has now been identified as Wes Raleigh, 20 years old. I suspected Sunday, and I do today, that most likely he's a deep state MK Ultra individual who was triggered. So Wes Raleigh, 20 years old, from Phoenix, Arizona, and the Coeur d'Alene area of Idaho, about 1 mile away from the city, is a park area, and he set a fire yesterday about 1 p.m., 2 p.m. The local fire departments respond. He, in a sniper fashion, opened fire. He tragically and sadly killed 2 firefighters. He wounded a third. The third has had surgery and is in grave condition, we understand, so our prayers go out to him. Our hearts, thoughts, and prayers go out to the families of the 2 firefighters who were shot dead. And we have a deeply grieving community there, mourning the loss of these 2 strong community participants, the 2 firefighters. So that happened yesterday, then about 2 o'clock. Okay, so I just covered the fatwa issued by the Ayatollah Khomeini, and people who are up on their news and what's going on in the U.S. know that many nations brought in illegals and even military-trained operatives to take America down from the inside, called sleeper cells, and that recently Iran said they were activating their sleeper cells. So yesterday, when this event broke out in Idaho, immediately you had on site 300 law enforcement from surrounding counties and states, and you had activated federal, state, and local sources immediately over the area. There was a special type of helicopter that's equipped with machine guns and geolocating devices. That's to locate an individual using their cell phone, plus other technology. And so so the shooting occurred about 2 p.m. By about 3:30, this specialized helicopter had detected a cell phone inside the wooded area that had not moved for quite some time. Then about 6 to 7 p.m. last night, we had law enforcement close in on that area where the cell phone was geolocated. There was an exchange of gunfire between law enforcement and the individual. Then law enforcement went in, and their report initially was they found a dead body and a gun nearby. Now, last night, the local sheriff said their preliminary forensic examination of the gun indicated it was most likely the same gun used in the shootings. But what really it made an impact on me was immediately, when they found the dead body and the gun nearby, they immediately canceled the shelter-in-place orders for people in the area, you know, in the event that they were looking for an active shooter. And the law enforcement called off their search, got in their vehicles, and left. So that happened. So I leave it to you to make your own assessment. But definitely that happened. But tying the Ayatollah Khomeini's Fatwa to the extreme and quick and thorough response by law enforcement at all levels indicates that the U.S. is on high alert in both law enforcement, governments, and the U.S. military for any type of sleeper cell and so on activity that might come up. So that's going on. So we have from Breitbart, we have the foreign minister from Rwanda, Oliver Duhangari, recommending that President Trump win the Nobel Peace Prize for his very effective bringing about of a peace agreement in a 30-year conflict between Rwanda and the Congo. And I agree. We have this from Real Raw News. Now, on Tuesday, tomorrow, President Trump is going to inspect a new site to process illegals. Now, this is not a necessarily a long-term detention center. It has its own runway so they can land planes there, get illegals off, and then bring in other planes to pick up the illegals to deport them. But it's called Alcatraz, and that's because it's being built in the Everglades, a swampy area of Florida, and a moat, a deep ditch is being put around the facility, and it was loaded with alligators. So alligator Alcatraz. Now, from Real Raw News, the Red Cross, a gym-operated group, sent a letter to President Trump demanding the Red Cross needs to go in there and inspect those facilities to be sure they're safe and healthy for the illegals. So the letter arrived at the White House June 27 from Red Cross CEO Cliff Holtz, demanding access to Alligator Alcatraz, and to do the inspection on the same day, Tuesday. President Trump is attending the opening of the facility that will process at one time 5,000 illegals. Susie Wiles, an aide of President Trump, sent back immediately a handwritten FedEx letter back to Cliff Holtz and said no. So that's going on. And we have this. So President Trump recently said he would like to see the trial of Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel. He would like to see it dropped. Well, it has been postponed. And in Iran, we had Elon Musk put Starlink over Iran so people could access the internet. Now the Ayatollah Khomeini, wishing to maintain strict control over his population, says, if you use Starlink to hook up to the internet, we're going to fine you or even put you in jail. So, no freedom of information in Iran, no, it's all controlled. So it's good to be in prayer for America, President Trump, the U.S. military, and world peace. I love you, and I'll see you soon.